to the reading in just a second. Do a link post here. Give me a second. Get to the reading if the thing works. I also like to point out that my internet tends to chop off while I'm doing live, so if it stalls out, it should be back in just a second. I tried to do this yesterday, maybe, perhaps the day before, and it didn't quite go. And I had to stop and then delete the minute of video that was there. Almost ready. No, what are you doing? What's this? Hello, computer. Come on. We want to actually work. Alright, should be going in a second here. Come on. Dude. What in the frickety frack? Did it go that time? Every time I try to post links lately, it just tries to shut me down completely. Alright, it worked that time. Okay, so Astrological Age of Taurus. Because it would not let me do it the other day when I wanted to. Alright. So the astrological age readings that I'm doing are not typical horoscopes. They're for precession of the equinoxes. It's a period of approximately 25,920 years. Each zodiac sign takes up a block of 2,160 years. So the last age of Taurus would have been right around 4,400 to about 2,200 BC. The dates always vary from website to website, but that's a general area. So it would have been around 6,000 to 4,000 years ago, right in that biblical era that people think about when they think about the age of Taurus. And then the next age of Taurus is going to be in about 19,400 years for any humans that are still surviving at that point. So even though it's a period in history that we kind of remember because we call it the beginning of our civilization, it's not like the earliest age necessarily, because we know there were people before that, especially in Egypt and in Göbekli Tepe and other places. Just making sure this is actually back before I start talking again. It cuts out completely. I don't understand the point of us having FiOS if the internet keeps dropping off every time I try to do a live. Anyway, so I don't know if the video is working. It says chat is not connecting. The next age of Taurus is in a little bit under 20,000 years. So I did a little bit of research just to get a general idea. I already had an idea from my Gemini reading. Taurus is going to be a further descent from consciousness, and then it's going to be a decrease in matriarchy and a further increase in patriarchy. And we're still in patriarchal era now, coming off of the age of Pisces. Okay. And now one thing that I thought was particularly interesting was that when Taurus is in the equinox position. Leo's in the summer solstice. Scorpio's in the autumn equinox. And Aquarius is in the winter solstice. And if you look at the tarot card here, this is the mini Rider-Waite. I know my camera is craptastic. So this is the wheel, all right? So we've got the bull here, that's Taurus. We've got a lion here, that's Leo. We've got the phoenix up here, which is in place of the scorpion for Scorpio, or it's like an eagle. Eagle is Scorpio. And then we have this angel dude up here, which is Aquarius. So when we see these signs in particular, it's talking about the zodiac wheel. You know, like the four corners of the earth, it's talking about the wheel. And we see the same characters in the world card, because the world ring here is the zodiac, right? So Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio again. It's talking about the precession of the equinoxes. So that's why I pulled these two cards out, just so you could see these characters are in the precession of the equinoxes, is inherently linked to the tarot deck to begin with. All right. So in the age of Gemini, there was a change between a matriarchal clan to a matriarchal family, where the man was suddenly also important, although he wasn't the head of the household. And there was an increase in left brain activity, like writing and architecture and civilization. Okay, but as we go from the beginning of Taurus to the end of Taurus, we have a complete all-out upheaval and a complete replacement of female characters by the masculine. So we go from this agricultural community with a lot of growth and creation. One of the sites said animal wifery instead of animal husbandry, which I thought was amusing. And then we have artisan crafts. And then it's one of the sites that I looked at described it as there were men that weren't contributing to the society, and they were kind of pushed off. It's kind of like in a lion pack or a pride of lions. They have, it's all female except for the one male lion who's the leader, the protector of their little family group. And when the male cubs get old enough, they get kind of kicked out of the pride, and they're supposed to go find a different pride to live in and collect their own little harem of females and create their own pride. And what they usually do is they go and they get bigger, and then they find a pride with an older lion and they kick his ass, and then they take over the pride and they eat all the cubs that aren't his. But the point is that there's instances where there's gangs of male lions that live together in small groups of like 2s and 3s. And the concept was that they had these matriarchal cities of like a community living with farming and crafts and whatnot. And the men that weren't contributing to the society were kind of pushed off in a group in the periphery where it was like mooring and hunting and whatever. And they came back in and were like, we're taking over. And that's kind of like an origin story of patriarchy. But I think it's like a natural flow of the Yuga cycle where, okay, so we're going from this right brain dominant, and the only way to balance it out is to swing the pendulum all the way to the other side. So you go from basically one extreme right into the other extreme, where it's like, you know, although it's sort of like gradients. It's like, okay, so we're like all female, and now, oh, just kidding, men are important too. And then it goes swings down. It's like men are only important, and then it comes back over here, and it's like all of the the secret knowledge societies that still worship the goddesses are being persecuted, and then we come back up to here where we are now, and it's like women are not people. So that's kind of this arc of what's happening in terms of Taurus. One thing also that I found was particularly interesting is in terms of the replacement is that in Egypt they had Apis bull worship with the god Ptah, and then they had also a female goddess related to the cow, which was Bet, and later Hathor. And there had been at least one instance, I think it was in Egypt. Maybe. I didn't write down which country it was. Yeah, it was in Egypt because there was a zodiac there. They had the cow-headed goddess was replaced in the zodiac. And there's, in the constellation of Taurus, there's Hyades and there's Pleiades. There's star clusters. So they went from the cow goddess with the cow focused in the Pleiades, and then later on it was covered over by the Apis bull, definitely masculine head with it looking into the Hyades. So there's this consciousness shift from one side to the other. So we talked about the incels. Right. So, and another thing that happens in the age of Taurus is that there's a shift from a duality, male and female, to the singularity of the male. So I mentioned that. So it's going from twin myths into bull myths. And you'll see in Crete, Minoan Crete on Knossos, you'll have the things with the fresco of the people leaping over the bull. And apparently it used to be leaping over cows, but they changed it. And then we have civilization coming up in this masculine architectural linear speech writing, materialism, more, gimme, wealth, which later led to a ruling class and corruption. So we have gimme stuff, build it, language, cities. So we're going from an agricultural community into cities. We're building it bigger, higher, taller, more power. So we've got Age of Taurus stuff. We've got Sumeria with Gilgamesh. We've got Crete. We've got the Harappa culture in the Indus. We got the writing of the Bhagavad Gita. And then we're also in an earth element, but what's happening is we're saying earth is not female anymore, earth is now male. And that's directly related to, or it's directly seen in the Mithras cult. It's a male biased cult. And then the reason they're saying that man is now earth instead of female is because they give the Mithras guy or bull or whatever, they made his tail into a sheaf of grain, so he's now the one who's responsible for growing. Okay. So then there's bull leaping, which then goes to bull sacrifice, which then goes to what we see now in bullfighting, like with matadors. Now, additionally, in the age of Taurus, you'll see human sacrifice. And when it switches over, when you get to the age of Aries, as the age of Taurus dies out after, its 2,160-year cycle, you can see a definite shift. So you go from human sacrifice to animal sacrifice. And you see cultures being phased out. The death of Krishna in the Indus culture leads into the time of Aries. We see bull slaughter becoming more prevalent, and it's not literal, it's a mystery, right? But people mistake it now, and that's why we have matadors. So another thing in terms of that is that Sumeria started to fall at the end of the Age of Taurus. It was replaced by Akkadians, who were later the Babylonians. The Minoan culture was destroyed. The Indus civilization collapsed. And it's all based on those time scales of the Age of Taurus, and then it's ending, and now it's going into Aries. Okay. Oh, and then in terms of mythology, also besides ritual bull killing in any myths, you have Moses destroying a golden calf when they came out of Egypt. So it's saying we're ending this age where there was cow worship, and now we're going into something else. And then similarly, they have Abraham, the patriarch in the Bible. He's moving out of Ur. He's literally moving out of Sumeria. And then instead of human slaughter, where he's supposed to kill his son, they're like, oh no, just kidding, now you can sacrifice a ram. Literally going from human sacrifice into animal sacrifice at the end of the Age of Taurus. And the animal that he's going to sacrifice now is Aries, the ram. So it's very telling about these shifts in focus in what's going on astrologically in terms of myths. And they're kind of out of order sometimes in the Bible because it was written down so much later. Like none of it was written down until they were in captivity in Babylon, which didn't happen until about 500 BC. So all of this stuff that happened, 4,000, 6,000 years ago was just kind of floating around, not written down yet, even though there was a lot of stuff in Sumeria and Egypt and in the Minoan linear A and linear B, and then in the Sanskrit it was written down. But the stories that people are more familiar with, that they take literally, that have to do with these ages, were written down a lot later. Okay. So I'm just skimming here to see if I missed anything, because my notes were all over the place. Yep, so I went over the Apis bull, cusp of Aries, creation, yeah. Oh, okay, Bronze Age in terms of technology. So we have the Bronze Age, we have the creation of papyrus, we have cuneiform, there's hieroglyphs. And then a lot of the characteristics that are brought forward from this soul left brain thinking is materialism, stubbornness, possessiveness, gimme, 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 it's mine, I want more. We have nearsightedness, we have harshness, we have the ruling with an iron fist. Yeah, and then there's architecture, wealth, that idea. Something else. I also thought it was really interesting that we have Brahman cattle now, which doesn't seem to have anything to do with the Indian god Brahma, but the word Brahman in the cattle has like almost the same sound in letters as Abraham, who is from the time of Taurus. So snack on that. Yep, consciousness decline. The wisdom was maintained by some who stayed in a higher consciousness state, but even that gradually faded, which is why all the information was lost. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the last age of Taurus, which I just went over. I'm going to be using my music deck that I made, which has bootleg images. So I can't sell this, but if you want a copy, I will email you the the XLS spreadsheet that has the list of songs, and then I'll email you the .docx file. And then if you got cardstock like these, you need 10 sheets, and you could print them out and cut them out yourself. And then I just clip the corners so they're rounded. Right? So that's free. If you want it, you can message me. If you can open those kinds of files, you can print out your own deck. And then also I'm using the Aquarian Tarot. Right? So let's get into the previous age. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some cards for the last age of Taurus, and then I'm going to pull some cards for the next age of Taurus, that's again in a little bit under 20,000 years. And then I'm going to pull some cards for the bridge in between them. And again, I've said this before, the most similar reading that I offer that people can purchase to this is called Roadblock Moguls. Right. So, tell me some informations about what kind of energies were people trying to deal with and learn from in the last age of Taurus. Starting with the music deck here. Ooh, that came out in the challenge position. Sideways. Oh! Someone will fall on the floor. And I'm not going to take any of those because there's a whole pile of them going every which way. Really like them apples. Yeah, so speaking of Isaac and human sacrifice, that plushie right back there in the light, that's my Binding of Isaac's plushie that my friend got me. He's holding his dead cat guppy. If you've ever played that game, I highly recommend it. And also, I find it highly intriguing that some of the pickup items are tarot cards. It's a dark little game, and I love it. I'm going to get one more. I feel like I need 5 here. Okay. So in the challenge position, which I have not seen yet, the Tower. All right. So we have the foundations are being challenged, which is exactly what happens when the patriarchal system swaps out with the matriarchal system. Now, the song on this card that I have is Mustafa by Queen. It's from the Jazz album. It's a direct hit. Look at that. Like a meteor coming down. And then it's kind of, if you pretend that the center part is the Earth, even though I hate to tell the flat earthers that the Earth is not flat, but then we have this circle around it, which would be the zodiac. And we're getting a direct hit that the foundations are being changed. Now, what's interesting is that the lyric Mustafa Ibrahim is, I believe, the Arabic form of Abraham. And I looked up the lyrics for this song once, and they're almost nonsensical, but it seems to be talking about faith in some aspect. And the reason that I have it on the Tower is because when my brother put together a little movie for his calculus class when we were in high school, he had this song coming in when there was a meteor about to crash in the Earth. And I just always associate it with that. So it's, and when I see the Tower, I see this, you know, rapid destruction, this shaking the foundation idea. So this comes in as a challenge, and we know that in the last age, that the foundations of society were completely altered. So the next card is the Hermit in reverse. This is Dust in the Wind by Kansas. Now, if your tower crumbles, you're going to have dust in the wind. And I see this, it's like, how can I explain this? It's a lack of introspection. It's like a half moon. It's saying, and usually the Hermit is carrying a lantern, so it's a descent into darkness. Half of your brain is shutting down. And again, there's the idea of the moon having to do with secrets and secretion. So you have different chemicals in your brain being secreted, but you're only using one half of your brain. Your creativity is stunted in some way. Your growth isn't happening. You might have droughts or starvation, even though you still go out and you like hunt animals and your agriculture is all right, but you're no longer talking to your plants. You're just dumping water on them and hoping for the best and getting mad at them when they're not providing enough. You know, it's like you don't go out and sing to your plants and shine the right kind of light on them. You just throw some dead fish guts on them and call it good. It's like the shrinking of the pineal gland. Your psychic intuition is shutting down. There's no expansion or creativity. You're losing touch with earth mysteries or universal mysteries. Next card. This is the Page of Cups. This is the turtles. You know what I mean. And I got this card in one, I think it might have been Capricorn, but I'm not sure. In the Wild Unknown Tarot deck, the Hermit is a turtle, and he's got a candle on his back. So right after the Hermit in this deck, we've got a turtle. So we have this garden motif here. We've got a turtle. The weight of the world on your shoulders. You know how the turtle is supposed to be supporting the world? It's like you're in your shell. And one of the lyrics is like, wouldn't we two be together? You know what I mean? But it's like saying all this feminine growth, the flowers, this creativity is being shelved. It's going into hiding. We're descending these stairs and we're putting a lid on it. Now, for me, a page is either a 1 or an 11. So this would have to do with like a divine timing of cycles. There's a new phase being started. We've made a complete cycle in terms of what's going on with femininity, and we're setting it down and starting over. And then additionally, with 9 and 11, we get Judgment, which also has to do with completing. Or there's a completion here with a 1. If this is a 1, this is 10, that's completion there. Okay, so the next card is the King of Swords inverted. This has to do with harshness. It has to do with possessiveness. I'm seeing screaming. I'm seeing warring. I'm seeing fighting. I'm seeing airborne attacks. I'm seeing nuclear bombs. I'm seeing, you know, skulls being cleaved and people being stabbed. It's The song for this is Radioactive, and the picture I have here is from the Lindsay Starling and Pentatonics video. This is Kevin playing his cello. Inverted, the King of Swords energy, especially with Radioactive, it has to do with putting out toxic energy and being reactive to situations instead of considering and thinking and being heart-centered and in tune with your psychic ability and your emotions. And a king is usually, for me, he's either a 1 or he's a 14. So the masculine is out of balance. He's lying, he's abrasive, he's manipulative, he's conniving. He's only thinking, not feeling. And to back that up, we have the 7 of Swords in reverse, Midnight Creeper by Elton John. It's reiterating the idea of being out of balance with swords. Now we're in this sort of ninja sneaky energy. We're using deception to get what we want. We're hiding our true intentions. We take from others so that we have more. Okay, so let me get in with, let me check the bottom of the deck here first. King of Wands is also inverted. This is Edgar Winter's Frankenstein. So again, we have this idea of this sort of half-brained monster lumping around, and he's radioactive. And that's not to say there aren't achievements in terms of culture because of the architecture and the weaponry, the Bronze Age, tools, writing, urbanization. That's not to say that it's all negative, because it's not. It's just to say that the main themes are warring and wanting more. You'll see if you're looking at history, you'll see constant replacements of empires. The map just goes, it's like a lava lamp with a historical map. You have the Hatteians who get replaced by the Hittites. You have the Sumerians get replaced by the Akkadians, and then the Babylonians, and then they get replaced by the Seleucid Empire. They get replaced by the crap. Who was in between? There's the Phoenicians, and then there's the Romans. There's the Hyksos, and then there's a few other empires in there that I don't remember right this second. And then there's just constant like ebb and flow of these different empires that keep replacing themselves, and the only way they get territory is by literally beating it out of somebody else. All right, so let's see what else we can get. I'd like to find out more about what intellectual progress was made instead of just the rigid framework. Let's see if the guides are going to say anything with the Aquarian Tarot here. I'd like to get... Ooh, okay. It's kind of letting these fall where they're going to fall at the moment. You're interesting. So thirsty. Ooh, intriguing. I just need one more. Oh, that one came out sideways too. Okay. Alright. So along with the Tower, We have the Two of Pentacles here. This is in a challenge position. And we got this dude here. He's in a Lady Gaga Joanne moment with this pink hat. Two of Pentacles. He's juggling different options. He's choosing which side of his brain to use. And it looks like the right side here with the feminine is just kind of fallen off of the wayside here. He's like, I don't know. I mean, I like this one over here better. This one, like, it seems to be attached. I don't know. I gotta figure out which one I'm gonna do. You know, he's got his back turned to the water here. He's looking at material things and not emotional things. He's choosing dominion over the material world. Now, this came out in pair with the Hermit in reverse. He's got the Ace of Cups. Why is he in a new beginning in his feelings? Interesting. He feels like he is the greatest thing on earth. I am my best person when I am in control. I know the best way. When I know things, I feel good. When I'm in control, I feel safe. Okay. So let's take a look at all right, so let's see what came out underneath the Page of Cups. You have the Chariot in reverse. This guy looks like he's about to get shot out of a cannonball. He's got a sword. He's got his little helmet on there with a pentacle on it because he's focused. His third eye isn't focused on the road ahead. It's focused on materialism. He's like, I've got this technology here. It's pretty sweet. We invented the chariot. We're going to battle. But in terms of spirituality, you're not going fucking anywhere. Your spirituality has run aground. It's down here under the turtle shell. Under the King of Swords in reverse, I have the Star in reverse. This is like the ultimate wish. Sort of like Bird of Paradise kind of idea. We have this third eye awakening up here. May the bird of paradise fly up your nose and fart twice. Now, interesting. This is sort of like a compass rose up here. It's got the 4 directions. And again, that has to do with these, with the symbols here in terms of, you know, the 4 corners of the zodiac. The wheel is turning. The wheel in the sky is turning. But now you're stuck in this, era, trudging forward through this darkness because you can't see where you're going. It's like really similar too. He's got this pentacle here, and then it's this sort of 4-pointed star. So the difference between these is completion. 7, 17. Now, there isn't really a completion in terms of this cycle, because once initiated, we know that this this patriarchy and darkness cycle lasted longer than the age of Taurus. It was like a 6,000-year deal. But I do note that it's really significant that the Chariot and the Star are next to each other. It's like saying I'm getting that Sleeping Beauty thing of a dream is a wish your heart makes when it's fast asleep. So it's like your heart center is taking a nap here, and your dream won't be realized until the masculine heart center is open. Like this. This is what you would think if he had his heart center open. And it's almost like saying, this is what's being lost in this era, because it's underneath the Hermit inverted. He's not seeing this light. It's having the where it makes it dark. He's choosing to walk away from the water. He's going onto dry land. And here he is in the desert, playing with all his swords. He's like, yes, I could practice my psychic abilities, but I'm not doing that because these ones, they're made of bronze that has extra stuff in it. It's technology, and the lines are so crisp, and I like these 3 swords better, and it doesn't look like I'm hurting myself because I don't have them all 3 going the same way. This one's going down, these ones are going up, so it's not totally the 3 of swords. I feel pretty good right here. I've got all this stuff, you know, and I don't have to work on my psychic intuition, because the 2 of swords is like a low-grade high priestess, so he's just ignoring any concept of training the right side of his brain, and he's like, oh, this is pretty sweet. I could be king of this whole empire with this titanium alloy, gold-tipped Fender Stratocaster sword here. That is a 5 of swords. That is the mind games card. And again, it has to do with this idea of using your intellect in your words. What can you get from people? Okay. So that's the last age of Taurus. Sounds pretty craptastic in that context. But let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. Called it. 3 of Swords, heartbreak. It's not an emotionally stable environment. So let's look at the next age of Taurus. Let's see what has to be resolved and expanded upon and worked on when Taurus comes around again in the 20,000 years. Let's see what needs to be worked on. But I find that these are usually a continuation of a process where it's like a spiral where you're hitting the same line, but you're further up in a vibration. You know, it's like you're still driving a car, but instead of like a 1902 Oldsmobile, now you're driving a Ferrari. (1896) Oldsmobile. This one has seatbelts. It's kind of a challenge position. Okay, well, okay. So for the next age of Taurus, bottom of the deck, the Fool. So the song for this is "Wake Me Up" by Avicii. R.I.P. Tim. All right. So the Fool, new beginning, wake me up. So remember how the Hermit was sort of like taking a dirt nap? Wake up. Sort of a background information. Now, I'm getting 7 energy again here in the next age, but now we have Patience. Right? The song for this is Patience by Guns N' Roses. This is the 7 of Pentacles. And the little lyric down here on the bottom says, said woman, take it slow. Now this also has to do with divine timing, but also has to do with the idea of 7, of like the idea of the Chariot, of that king who was out of balance. It's like a multiple code switch kind of deal. So we're in this earth energy, we're in this materialism. But it's this idea of moving forward, this sort of 7 Chariot energy from the major arcana. We're moving slowly. We're growing something new. We've got a new crop. We need to be patient, but we're moving forward. We also have in a challenge position, we have the 10 of Wands. Now this is Red Light. This is Eddie Murphy with Snoop Dogg. It's like a jamming, like a slow jam kind of deal. The idea is to stop. Stop right there where you are. It's like you've completed this cycle of you know, toxicity. Think about what you've done. Where have your passions lied? What is your inspiration going forward? What is your gut feeling? What is moving you to start anew? Close the lid on that. Close the back cover of the book. You finished it. Start writing in a new language. The other languages from the last age of Taurus are all dead languages. Stop. And it's not literally writing. It's you know how there's supposed to be like 5 different love languages? It's like there's different hate languages too. Speak a different language. Learn a new language. Stop reading the same from the same manual. Literally manual. All right. Okay, so the next card, Page of Swords. Now, this character on here is actually female. The song is Crypt of the Necrodancer. It says OST Zone 1 Level 2. It's from a game by the music's by the same guy that did the music for The Binding of Isaac. Remember, there's Isaac right there in the background. It's a game where this girl is like going through these crypts, and I don't know what the point of it is because I've never played it, but the main idea is that you have to move the character up and down the grid of the game to the beat of the music. So for me, this particular deck, the Page of Swords, is someone who is learning to think in a new way, to roll with a universal rhythm, that she's learning to speak a new language. She's learning to think in a new way that has to do more with a flow of life than a give me that, I want it. Okay, so the idea is that we're having patience with ourselves in this idea where we've been afraid to close this negative chapter of history. and learn how to do something, learn how to think in a new way, learn how to be in a rhythm. This is a 1 or an 11, so it goes 10, 11, 7, 10, 11. It's like being shoved off of the pier into the water, and now we're learning how to use this sword, this sort of new truth, like a new, it's like a unicorn horn. You're growing enlightenment out of your forehead. Truth. It's like opening the third eye. It's like if you're patient with yourself, you will be able to have enlightenment when you move on. Okay, so the next card, the Queen of Pentacles. Now, when I said open your third eye and move on, this picture here is a mandala from somewhere of the rainbow light body. This is like an ultimate enlightenment in Pentacles. Patience. And the Queen is a 13 or a 1, so it's a new beginning. It's a death cycle. Let's say we're getting rid of all the other crap. We're going to achieve this enlightenment. And the way we do it is, instead of gimme, 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 we're going to get back into the feminine energy and say, I can be creative, but I can still be in control of earth element. I can use this creative thinking. I can be in control of I can be grounded in the way that I perceive the world around me. And though I can appreciate material things and I see their beauty and their usefulness, I don't have to possess all of them and take it away from someone else. Okay. So what its last card is? Okay, so this is the Lover's card. This is from the Rubber Soul album cover. So it says Soul here. We've got a little bit of one of the other ones, and we got Ringo and John here. Right, so the Lover's card, this is In My Life, the song. So it's, now the Lover's card is also the choice. It's like Gemini. And the way I see it, it's like, remember in the age of Gemini when we were still respecting the feminine? Where's that guy? We made a choice last time to only think from the masculine point of view. But what if you went back to this duality and said, hey, what's going on with a feminine perspective? I can still appreciate that in terms of being able to use both sides of my brain. Now, if we take the 6 and the 7 here, then we do get this 13. This is a death cycle. It's saying, you know, we're clearing the air of all this stuff that went before when we made a severe choice to swing the pendulum way, way to the extreme. But now we don't have to be extreme. We can come back into the middle where we can have dominion over things from a centered place. So let me get some cards from this Aquarius. I hope this is still working because my chat has been disconnected for like an hour. And, okay, for like 45 minutes. And it keeps cutting out every time I try to say something important. should be happy that it actually worked today, though, because it was not working when I wanted to do it yesterday morning or early yesterday afternoon. I was really butthurt about that. Holy crap. Flew on the floor. I don't want to open that one yet, but I'll put it right here. The progression of my hair drying in this video is slowly getting crazier. It's also kind of hot in here. Put the AC back on when I'm done because it's noisy. Alright. So let's see the background energy for this deck. We have the King of Cups. So in the next age of Taurus, in 20,000 years, the king has to rule with his intuition and his feelings in his hand. He doesn't seem super psyched about it, but he's like, dude, I gotta, like, that other thing didn't work last time. Like, everything I built was destroyed. All of my empires are now ruins. There's nothing left over. If I want something to last, to really last, I need to build it with compassion. I need to be balanced in my feelings. I can't just be cutthroat and vindictive. Those are the words. Okay. Oh, too hot. It's too hot in here, man. It's too hot. My ears were melting. Okay. All right, so let's get with the Patience card. We have the Hanged Man in reverse. So 12 here is for me is a night energy. It's getting a move on, and it's also waking up. It's kind of like a double the Lovers card, where it's, instead of making a choice, it's like the choice is actually made for you. It's not like you don't have two sets of choices. You don't have 4 options. You have, the decision has been made. You've gotten this download after hanging upside down on the tree. And then we've got this idea of his legs making the number 4, which is, well, it's the Emperor, but it's also, I also see it as like foundation. So he's gotten enough information to give him a foundation of going out to become the Emperor now. He's like, oh, okay, I know which way to go. Like, get my ankle out of here. I got shit to do, man. But he's a little bit of patience, buddy. It's going to take a minute to get you off the tree. But he's awake. He also, I can't, it's really hard to see because this camera is such crap-tastic quality, but if you can Google a picture of the Hanged Man on the Aquarian Tarot, it looks like Alan Cummings. I like him. Okay, so for the 10 of Wands, we now get the 9 of Rods, which is the same as Wands. So we've been holding on for a really long time to this old paradigm. And you don't have to hold the fort anymore. The relief is coming. You can set down your burden. The cavalry isn't coming. Now, with the Page of Swords, they get the 5 of Pentacles inverted. Okay, so it's like when you start out over again and flow with things, you're not going to be worried about all the fancy shit that other people have and be like, hey, I want that. I don't have that. I'm not outside. I'm not lacking. I don't need to steal my neighbor's wife and cow. Dishonor on your cow. So, when you're focused on keeping the rhythm with when you are in your enlightenment, in your third eye, you're not going to be shut out. You're going to be in the church there doing mystical shit. And this is upside down, just to say that we're no longer on the outside looking in, because we can see. We can, like, you can see. See. Right. And with the Queen of Pentacles, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So the keys to the kingdom. All of the new growth is predicated upon awakening of the inner feminine, of joining both sides of your brain together. You're not ignoring intuition and emotion. You're saying, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. Let me use my logical side of my brain, where all those swords were in the last age of, I don't need to be manipulative or lying or conniving in my swords energy. I can be balanced. I can be, in tune with the feminine side that helps me be balanced and grow that third eye back open, so that I can, literally the keys to the kingdom. Earthbound growth. Taurus is an earth sign. Now, with the Lovers card, which is also the choice, we've got Temperance inverted. And I think that it's out of balance just to say that it's not going to happen overnight, because you have to have patience. You've got the 6 and the 7 here, but you're not quite getting to the 14. You have to complete this death cycle of purging all of the trauma of the last age of Taurus before you can pick up this ace, which will bump the 14 around to be balanced. It's really all in the hands of this masculine energy, allowing this feminine element into his life without feeling overpowered, diminished, or emasculated by it. And there we have the Hermit upright when that happens, because now he sees the light. What's in the back here? Justice. 11. Yeah, 11. So everything in cycles of divine timing. It has to do with evolution. It's balancing the light and dark now. What else have we got? 10 of Pentacles. Happiness on earth. Let's see what else is on this deck here. 6 of Cups inverted. So we're not being hung up on the past. We're not romanticizing the last age of Taurus. Incidentally, that song is San Francisco. by Scott McKenzie. What else? Again, the Chariot's upside down. Choo choo, motherfucker. Your crazy train's not going anywhere until you get this work done. Choo choo, motherfucker. Now, what's behind the Fool here? Six of Wands, uprising, my muse. Oh, they're in a truck here. They're sailing away from the bullshit. We're moving out. We're rising up. We're leveling up. And then behind that, we will have Temperance, and that is chemical plant zone. All right. Now, I should do a little bit of a bridge between them, even though I feel like it usually is pretty satisfied there. But let's just shuffle these again. I love how it cut out like 6 times already. That's fucking great. The card's falling out. Okay. Got the bridge. I feel like I could drink a gallon of water right now. 4, that's enough. Background energy, Page of Pentacles inverted. So you're not going to get where you're going if you start out by saying, let me work on my stuff some more, my material stuff, because you need to work on your thoughts and feelings and your intuition. You don't need to work on your material goods right now, buddy. Now, I'd like to point out that these readings also tend to have applications on in the microcosm as well. It's not just like it's only applicable to these large time scales, because I find that when I do the reading, it's always like as above, so below. It's like for the huge time scale, there's always stuff that's applicable for like small time scale. So if there's an eclipse in Taurus, or there's a trine Taurus, or you are a Taurus, or whatever, that means that these energies are at play on a smaller level. And it might be that, you know, like your girlfriend is in a masculine energy and she is lying her face off and wants to start a fight with everybody and steals all your snacks and you can't deal with it. And then you can say, oh, well, she needs to work on her heart chakra and then she'll be able to get to this next phase where she's all enlightened. That's the kind of concept that it's working with. So that's more than okay. So we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. This is a completion. It's a spinning wheel by Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and I get this carousel on here. So it's the astrological wheel is turning and you're stuck on for the ride, whether you want to be or not. Are you going to learn something between the last age and the next age? Okay. So we've got the Ace of Wands here. This is Christina Aguilera, and she's on one of those carousel horses. And it says, enter the circus / welcome. So if you want to get your horses going the right way, you want your wheel to turn in your favor, you need to deal with your intuition in a new way. You have to go within yourself instead of blaming everybody else. Okay. So we have coming out together. We have 8 strength and the King of Wands. Now strength is inverted here, but we went from the Ace of Wands to the King here. So he's trying to achieve balance, but he feels like he's in a weak position because he's giving up some of his quote-unquote power to the feminine side of him. He's like, I don't know if I like this, but I really want to, I want to be in control. I want to be the master of this feeling, intuitive notion. So we have the 8 of Rods and the 3 of Cups inverted. So instead of 8 in the major arcana inverted, now we have 8 wands. It's like a code switch. So we're not communicating, we're moving kind of slow. And in this 3 of Cups energy inverted, it's like we're not really working with other people on this. We're a little bit soggy by brushing along the feelings. You know, our idea of having feelings is going out and partying, but because this song here is Party All the Time, Eddie Murphy with Rick James. So we're not really, the masculine doesn't really feel inspired to move forward or change when he feels uncomfortable about building casual friendships with people. He wants to dominate them. He doesn't want to be chummy in that Taurian past age energy. Now, here we have a 7 together. So we have this idea of movement. When you figure out 4 of Pentacles, which things to hold on to and which to let go of. So instead of the 2 Pentacles where he's choosing masculine over feminine, now he's got to figure out which of these 4 elements he needs to work on. You don't need to work on the Pentacle. You did that already. Only Pentacles didn't get you where you wanted to be. So he's like, well, I need a feminine energy, I need a masculine energy, but I don't know which 2 elements I should hold on to and which ones I should let go of. But once he figures that out, he gets this 3 of Wands here, and he's got this new blueprint for the future. And this is, I saw 3 ships, and I use the Nat King Cole version because I like that one. So he's looking out over the water. He's considering his feelings, and the sun here is sort of this like solar plexus fire intuition energy. So it's like if you make a choice as to what you need to really work on, you'll be able to see where you can go with this new plan for the future. All right. So we've got 7 of Wands inverted now. So we've gone from 8 to 7 inverted. 7 of Wands is like defending your position or holding on to your beliefs. Now here, now this card is Beautiful by Christina Aguilera. And it's like your position is indefensible. Well, you have to let down your guard in order to move forward. But we also have 9 of Cups inverted. So this is like a dream. It's like a half wish, but it's like dreams instead of nightmares. Like a half moon. And I feel like it's related to the inverted Hermit from the old Age of Taurus. It's like our light went underground, but so did our dreams. You know, like when I said the dream is a wish your heart makes. That's like this. It's like saying you're not, your dream isn't being defended. What was your dream? What were your goals? Well, my dream was to dominate all the cultures around me and to steal all their resources. Well, your dream is indefensible. You need to work on that, buddy. You got to get in there with the moon card and get down, back down in there and do your shadow work. Get in touch with the emotions, not with all this crap that you wanted. Okay, so that's kind of the bridge between those areas. Let me just see if I can get any final message for what's going on for the Age of Taurus altogether. Let's see what's going on with that one already. Anything else? Okay. All right, so now we have Six of Cups in upright. This is like a favorable view of the past. This is like a feminine version of being open and balanced in the heart chakra. We have the Wheel of Fortune upright this time, so we're moving with the ages. We're not resisting what they're offering. We're saying, okay, let me get into the cycle and really work on what's supposed to happen during this time in history. What does this era mean to me? Now here we have confusion and fighting and just generally being contrary. And I see it as a progression because we have 5 here and then we have 10. So we're leveling up. We're ratcheting up. Where it's been, you know, I am the king of the stick people. Now it's I'm moving in tune with these cycles. Let's see what else we can get from the music deck as an overall miswatch. Come on. No, I'm not taking all of that. Anything else? Do I really need that many freaking cards? Let me put all these back. Screw that. I don't like it when I'm shuffling and I see the cards before they fall out because then I feel like I'm influencing the reading. Actually, let me put that one back too because I saw that one. I figure if they're meant to come out, they'll pop out again. Okay, so that's it. So the background, 5 of Pentacles. So this is from Tom Petty, Don't Come Around Here No More. We have this very black and white kind of Masonic situation going on here. It's very light and dark. It's very, you know, masculine versus feminine. We have this idea of being in Wonderland, of things being altered and changing and getting bigger and getting smaller and not really knowing what's going on. Now, the 5 of Pentacles already, which was that being left out in the cold feeling. So this one is more, it's like, get out and I'm confused kind of a sensation. And also came out the Hangman inverted and the 2 of Cups inverted. I'm hearing No Love is Sorrow, which is a song by the Pentangle, which is relevant to Pentacles, which is an earth sign. Now, the 2 of Cups here in my deck, I Fell in Love with an Alien by the Kelly family, but it's inverted. Masculine and feminine energies aren't yet in balance, but the Hangman, again, upside down because he's waking up. This is Soul Kitchen by the Doors. I sleep all night in the Soul Kitchen. And then I can't remember the rest of the lyrics because he's screaming. But he's waking up to the concept that the masculine and feminine energies that he holds are not imbalance. Now here we have Nine of Pentacles. Inverted though. So it's going back to the other Nine of Pentacles that was inverted. It's like saying you need to rethink what you thought you wanted. Okay. So I'd also like to point out that this does not mean that Taurians are like shitty and douchey. It has to do with what the age of Taurus means in terms of what it brings. It's saying we're doing extremes where we know that we're in this place in the wheel of in the Yuga cycle. We're going to perform this extremism because this is the age that we're in. It's like saying that it's like if you said Christopher Walken is a shitty person because he plays a villain brilliantly. Everybody who's a Taurus is a shitty person because they lived through the age of Taurus and they were scripted to be like this. No, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. You're all brilliant actors playing your role in history, but you do have a choice. Where's that? You have a choice. Your choice is enlightenment. And maybe people back then didn't have a choice. It was either you're in or you're out. And so the point is that it's extremism of left brain thinking. And the challenge going into the next age of Taurus is to keep swinging the pendulum back and forth between the left brain and the right brain until we say, oh, now I know how to fully grasp this concept of building and expanding and writing and creating and remodeling the landscape. But I don't have to do it aggressively. I can do it creatively. You know, I don't need to build edifices to my greatness. I can build temples and or whatever to celebrate the creativity of having the idea of making it. It's not to say like I'm going to murder your next 8 generations of family if you don't build this monument and kiss my butt. It's you have a result of being able to build the same monument in terms of this left brain approach to earth energy. But the way that you do it, you can either hit people and hurt them to make it happen, in which case your thing that you've built will be infused with this negative energy that will self-destruct after a certain amount of time. Or you can use creative energy, and then the thing that you built will have positive energy or balanced energy, and it will be able to last a lot longer. All right, so hopefully that made sense. All right, so like I said already, if you want to order a reading that's similar to what I did here, it's called Roadblock Mobiles. It's in the description box of my infomercial video, and I'll put a link to that in the description box of this video, or I usually put it in a comment down below as well. Like really sleepy now that I'm done. So I don't know if this is really legible, but kind of legible. All right, so you can tweet me at thecatcameback. If you want to donate, that's paypal.me/CATtheMinion or Cash App or Venmo. If you want to buy merch like this keychain here or other brightly colored designs, that's cafepress.com/CATtheMinion. If you want to buy prints like this, my logo here, or some other prints, that's at deviantart.com/CattheMinion. If you have any questions, you can email me, thecatcamebackatcamp@gmail.com. And then also I have my Facebook art page down here, which is kind of like a whatever I'm working on right now kind of a deal. Sort of like a live, not really a live feed, but like a blog feed kind of style. So yeah, so please like, share, subscribe, donate if you want to, order a reading if you want to. I am getting really drowsy. I am getting sleepy. All right. Thank you to anybody who watched this. Bye.